guys, it's Michelle here with Nom Nom Paleo, and welcome to my kitchen. Every Wednesday I come on live to show you how to cook something, and today is no different. I've got my little sidekick Ollie, my younger son, helping out, even though he doesn't always help out. And then my older son Owen is going to read out questions out loud to me, and my Instant Pot is yelling at me. And then behind the scenes, Lauren Wade will be typing answers to all the questions you guys have. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make the latest recipe on my blog and on our iOS app. It is our sheet pan sweet and spicy pork. And it's kind of like...
Oh.
What happened?
You didn't mute it. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. And it's kind of like tasio-ish and kind of like sweet and sour pork, but super fast and super easy. And I'll show you how to make it. And it's a perfect weeknight meal. And it's not super spicy. I'll have my kids try it, and then they'll tell you guys if you think it's super spicy. So today, one of you lucky live viewers is going to win a $100 Amazon gift certificate, courtesy of moi. And so all you have to do is just say hello or ask a question during the live broadcast, and Lauren will magically pick one random person, and we will email you the gift certificate. Oh, and my friend Lauren is here because we have 2 pans of sheet pan sweet and spicy pork, so she's here to help eat it. So I'm actually only going to show you how to make half of the recipe because I have the other one baking in the oven. And so I always think it's a little disingenuous when a sheet pan supper recipe says it'll feed 4 on a little half sheet pan, because it's not true. Like, I can fit a pound of pork tenderloin on this along with some vegetables, but this would not feed a family of 4. So I think it's almost better to have 2 pans, and it'll feed about 6-ish. I really try to underestimate, whatever the word is, but basically I say this serves 6, but it probably could serve a little more than 6, but at least 6 people I think would be very happy and satisfied with the amount of food. But what I have here is a pork tenderloin, which is about 1 pound. The recipe calls for 2 pounds, so it would be 2 1-pound, or sometimes there are giant pork tenderloins. But I'm only going to show you how to make it for I'm going to do half the recipe because the other half is baking. But basically you have a tenderloin. You kind of, if it's not, sometimes the tenderloins are not super cleaned up at the butcher, and so if there's silver skin, just kind of take that off. But otherwise, just cut it crosswise into little 1-inch medallions. And then for a pound, you want to salt this, and then I will toss this. And the reason why I'm salting, because I'm going to be salting the pork, and then I'm going to salt the vegetables, even though they're going in the marinade, because I always think it just makes them taste better. All right, so I'm going to toss this with the salt, and I'm going to have you make the marinade, okay, Allie?
Okay.
So what I have here is some jam, and so this is a special kind of Whole30 jam. You know, the thing that you're using as a drumstick?
Yeah.
So this is a special Whole30 friendly jam that is only sweetened with fruit juice. And you can totally buy that at most stores. The brand I buy, which I like a lot, is this Saint Dalfour. Not a sponsor, I just think they're really great. And the ingredients are just peaches. So this is the peach one. Peaches, and then fruit juice concentrate, fruit pectin, and lemon juice. So it is technically Whole30. This recipe is Whole30 if you use Whole30 sriracha. And I have a recipe for Whole30 sriracha, and I actually have some that I always have in my freezer that I've thought out that I'm going to use. But you know, if you're not doing a Whole30, you can use regular sriracha, and it's not a big deal. It's only a little bit, and it won't. You won't make, you know, you go off the rails. Yes, Owen?
So someone asked that if they were to buy one of our books, which one would you recommend to a family of 4?
I think both of them are awesome. I can't choose. It's like choosing between my 2 children. I don't know. I love them both. Some people like the first one better. Some people like the second one better. I think they're both really great. It kind of just depends what you're looking for. The first one is more of a traditional cookbook where it's broken up. Oh shoot, our thing is done. Whereas oh yes, Lauren can help me take it out. It looks like it's done. Yeah, it looks perfect. So can you just pull it out and you can stick it. You can do a cameo behind us.
Yay!
Yay, everybody! This is Lauren. Applause for Lauren. Okay. Oh, but the second one is basically a cookbook for whether you're ready or not, and it's got recipes for when you have nothing made. But no, you gotta leave it.
Oh, leave it?
Yes, I have a second tray that I'm baking. I'll do it later. Just leave it. Come back.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Come on.
I know you're trying to be helpful. But the second one, we love it because it's more comic book form, and they're just both good. You should go to the library and check them out, and then you can see for yourself which one you like better.
Also, does this freeze well?
After it's cooked, I think it freezes pretty well. And you can keep it in the fridge for up to 4 days, and I think it's pretty good. Okay, so then there's some jam in here. I'm going to add some tomato paste in here. Here, just stir it. And then I have a since this is half a recipe, I have a tablespoon of coconut aminos, which is a soy sauce substitute that is gluten-free and soy-free, made from coconut sap. It's pretty similar to soy sauce, but it's a little bit sweeter, so I always add a little bit of fish sauce to, you know, kind of make it more savory and have more umami. And so the sriracha part, okay, you don't have to add, like, depending, it's actually not that spicy. So I put in the whole amount. And if you're not sure if you like spicy, just add a little bit at a time, because up until you put in the pork, you can totally taste this. And you can adjust it to whatever you want to do. So I'm also going to put in a clove of garlic. So I'm going to use this and scrape it. And mix this all together. I'm going to add a little bit of cracked black pepper. And if you guys actually have time, like on the weekend, you should really make my paleo tassu recipe, because it is very close to being authentic, and it's Whole30 friendly, and it's pretty similar to this, but it is better. This is a nice weeknight meal. Okay, so Ollie, I want you to try this. And you tell us, as a kid, if you think this is crazy spicy or a teeny bit spicy.
That's not that spicy.
But it is a little spicy. I mean, that's why I call it sweet and spicy pork. Otherwise, I would just call it sweet and salty pork, right? I mean, all right, so to this, I'm gonna add the salted pork tenderloin medallions. And now you cannot try this marinade anymore, because I just put in all this raw pork. And so you just toss it with your hands. That's always the easiest way. And I have a baking sheet, and I have some parchment paper, but you don't have to use parchment paper. I use the parchment paper because it helps with cleanup, because this is kind of like a sticky marinade. And so I'm gonna put the pork on here. But if you don't want to use the parchment, you can just kind of oil this really quickly, or if you have a non-stick rim baking sheet, you can just put them right on. And so I'm gonna, yes, Owen?
So which book is your sriracha recipe in?
Sriracha recipe is in the red book for sure. It might also be in the yellow book, just because I think we have the Whole30 version in the yellow book, and then the regular paleo version that has honey in the red book. But it's also online, so you can also just get it online or in our app. All right, so when I cut these medallions, like if I cut up a 1 pound pork tenderloin, I get about 9 to 10 pieces. And normally the very last piece, which is more tapered, I just kind of leave that as like this little piece like this, and I don't cut it crosswise, because it's, you know, it all kind of works out. Okay, so in this remaining marinade, I add some green beans, some red onions, some shiitake mushrooms, and some bell pepper. And I'm going to salt this a little bit.
What was the other recipe that you recommended for if someone had more time?
Ooh, paleo tassu. You guys like that, right?
Yeah.
I was working on that recipe for a long time. And if you guys have never had tassu before, it is a Cantonese roast pork. Like if you are in Chinatown and you pass like a Chinese barbecue shop, normally you'll see a bunch of ducks, like roast ducks hanging, and then these strips of kind of red looking meat, and that is tassu, which is barbecue pork. But instead of the one, like a lot of times the one you'll get at a Chinese restaurant will have artificial color and all sorts of weird stuff in it. Like the one I have is Whole30, and it tastes pretty authentic. So I'm just tossing this so that all of the remaining marinade gets on all the vegetables. And I've kind of spread out all the pork here. And so I'm gonna put all of the vegetables. See, this is the part Ollie wouldn't do because it's messy. Unless you want to. You're like, no. You're just going to be my taste tester. So you don't, even now, because sometimes spicy stuff can hit you later. Does it seem like, oh no, my mouth is burning? And I actually think it mellows out when you cook it too. I think like the sharpness of the raw garlic also adds to the spiciness when you first try it. But definitely if you are not used to spicy, you can just add a teeny bit of sriracha and kind of add more to taste. You can totally leave it out if you have no sriracha at all and you are doing a Whole30 but you like spicy, just use some crushed red pepper flakes. That works. The sriracha does add some more umami. It has more than just spice, so you may have to add a little bit more coconut aminos or fish sauce to kind of balance out the flavor, but I think it'll taste really good. And always remember that a marinade should be pretty strong tasting. And so, you know, it might seem a little salty or a little more powerful, but that's okay. It'll taste good once it's all roasted. So I'm gonna...
And by the way, the Lauren here is not the Lauren that answers your questions.
No. Oh, someone asked that? No,
Yeah.
I
No,
haven't.
because yeah.
No, this is my other friend, Lauren. The Lauren that is the master builder behind the scenes is a guy. And he's a young guy. And we are not young guys. No. Okay. I'm going to put this. So your oven should be set. Here, I'll come back and tell you guys. Okay, so your oven should be set at 425 convection or 450 regular if you have no convection. So I normally bake it for about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 depending on your oven.
Are you going to make an Instant Pot cookbook? And could you use other veggies in this recipe?
Yes, those are good questions. So I don't think I'm going to do an Instant Pot cookbook because there are so many of them out there already. I always have a ton of Instant Pot recipes on my website. And if we do have a new cookbook, yes, I'm going to garnish this with some green onion.
That was quick.
And in our if we do a new cookbook, which we are thinking about, it will probably be in the new cookbook, but it won't be exclusively Instant Pot, because I know even though I'm crazy about the Instant Pot, you shouldn't cook everything in the Instant Pot. Like, people are asking me whether they should make this in the Instant Pot, and I'm like, I don't know, it would be very different. It would be like a stew. And the good thing about this recipe is that it's like this roasted, tasty sheet pan supper. Oh, and the other question was what?
No, sorry. Could you use other veggies in this?
Yes. So if you don't have green beans or bell peppers, broccolini or baby broccoli or asparagus all work really great in this. And you just want to kind of aim for thinner vegetables, or you cut them smaller, because this will all be done in about 15 minutes. All right, so I've got, actually, I only need one because we have one. I'm gonna cut up the scallion and sprinkle it on top, and then I'm gonna have you guys try this. But as you guys can see here, this was super easy. The hardest part, like if you're doing a Whole30, the hardest part is probably tracking down some Whole30 jam and Whole30 sriracha. But again, if you're not doing a Whole30, it's not that big of a deal. You can use, you know, the hui fong sriracha, and nobody will be hurt, right? It'll be fine.
Right, could you use cauliflower with this? I know we just answered the veggie question.
Let's see. Cauliflower. You can use cauliflower. You may need to have you may need to make more marinade so that it coats depending on how much cauliflower, and you probably need to cut your cauliflower pretty thin, because cauliflower doesn't normally cook in about 15-20 minutes if you're just using regular florets.
So if you're not paleo, could you use sambal?
Sambal? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You can totally. Okay. I'm going to give you some. I know Ollie doesn't like shiitake mushrooms. So here, Ollie, you can try this. And then he'll get a bigger plate for dinner.
So are the medallions a specific kind of pork, or will
No. So
pork chops work?
it is. It's just a pork tenderloin. You know, pork tenderloin comes as like kind of a round tube, and you just cut it crosswise into like 1-inch little medallions, so they turn out to be like these tiny pork chops. You could use pork chops. They won't cook. I think they would take longer to cook, and your vegetables might get overcooked depending on what your vegetables are. You could get pork chops and then cut them smaller, you know, and that's kind of the. Here, Bo, you can try this. How is it, Bo? I mean,
Wait, are we calling her Lauren or Bo?
Oh, yeah,
I think we called her
no.
Bo previously.
I know. See, that's the thing. Bo/Lauren has two different names, so that's why I call her two different things. Like when I met her, she was Bo, and she has since changed her name. But that was like 30-something years ago, right? So, yeah. So I guess she's Lauren. Okay, so here, you try it. How is it? Is it spicy?
Did you use chicken instead of pork?
Yes. In fact, in my recipe on the blog post. Oh, you have no fork?
Yeah.
Sorry. The recipe on my blog post, I addressed everybody's questions. I was like, can you use another protein? And yes, you can use boneless, skinless chicken. You just have to make sure that it's, you know, cooked all the way through. If you have giant chicken breasts and giant thighs, you just cut them a little smaller. I have all the alternatives. You can totally leave out sriracha. Do you guys think it's too spicy?
No.
No, that's very good. And the veggies are delicious.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say that. Just because you're here. Okay, so, totally unbiased opinion. My family and my old friend said it's super simple, but it is super simple. So now I'm going to have Lauren in Arizona pick one random winner. And that's it. Do you have any other questions?
Where'd you get your apron?
Oh, this is a Headley and Bennett apron. I normally buy them directly on their site, Headley and Bennett, or on Amazon, because she also carries them on Amazon.
Don't have a winner yet. So, someone said that they saw Ollie doing Orange Justice, Dance It Out.
Yes. He is crazy about Fortnite dancing.
Yeah, okay. We don't have a winner yet.
But I think this marinade will work on many things. Many different protein and vegetable combinations.
So,
It's not super spicy.
How
It's
do
a
you-
little spicy,
Sorry.
but it's not that spicy. Do
Yeah.
you think it's spicy?
No. How do you know if, like, how salty the pork is?
Well, I give you a measurement with diamond crystal kosher salt. So for about 1 pound, you should use about 3/4 teaspoons of diamond crystal kosher salt. If you have 2 pounds, I think it's 1.5 teaspoons, which I have in the recipe. But if you use Morton's, cut that in half. And if it's, I mean, if you really aren't sure, you can like fry up a little piece, but at the same time, like the marinade, if you taste the marinade before you put the pork in, it'll taste pretty flavorful. I think you'll be good.
All right, so our winner is Karen Saller Delic. Delic? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Karen, yay!
I can't pronounce anybody's name. I apologize.
DM us your email address, and I will send you your $100 Amazon gift certificate. This was a super simple dish. I have another one baking in the oven that'll be done really shortly. I'm gonna serve it. The kids are gonna have it with some rice, and I'm gonna stir fry some bok choy to go with it. But there are plenty of vegetables, but if you want extra vegetables, I am gonna stir fry some bok choy just because I think it's better to have more vegetables. And I think that's it. Thank you, Ollie, Owen, and Lauren back in Arizona. I won't be here next week because I'll be down at Expo West, but we'll be back the following week. Bye, guys.